Okay, so we're going to have a look at how to convert between top-heavy fractions, sometimes called improper fractions, and mixed numbers. Let's start by just setting out what those things actually are. An improper fraction, again, which is sometimes called a top-heavy fraction, is a fraction where the top number is bigger than the bottom number, such as 31 over 8 or something. It's called top-heavy because it's heavier on the top. It's got a bigger number on the top than on the bottom. As opposed to a mixed number, which is something like 3.5. It's where you've got a whole number and then some fractions after it. And these are just two ways of representing a number that's bigger than 1. Because in this fraction, you've got more eighths than 8, which means you've got more than one whole. And here you've got 3.5, so you've got 3 wholes and another half. So both of these are numbers bigger than one whole. And we have to know how to convert between them. So if we start with going from an improper fraction, like, let's start small, 5/3, and I want to turn that into a mixed number, like 2.5 or something. Well, 5/3, if I were to draw it out as a picture, 3/3 looks like this, but we've got 5/3, so there's another third, which brings us up to 4, and there's 5/3. And you can see from this picture that we've got 1 and 2/3 left over. So that is the correct answer. 5/3 is the same as 1 and 2/3. And that's a nice picture, but that isn't how I'd suggest working it out in a question. To work this out, the way that I would suggest is you take the top number and divide it by the bottom number. So what I think we should do instead is 5 divided by 3. Now 5 divided by 3 is 1. You can get 1 3 in 5, but 2 of the 5 is left over. So it's 1 remainder 2. And what we do is that 1 becomes the whole number that's part of our mixed number, and the remainder goes at the top. So that's what we've got so far. 5 divided by 3 is 1, remainder 2, and the bottom number of our fraction, it was 5/3, that's going to stay the same. So we did 5 divided by 3, the answer was 1, and there are 2 of the 5 left over, 2 out of 3, so the bottom number stays as a 3. Now that might sound quite complicated, but let's just do another couple of examples. Let's do 10 over 4 as a mixed number. Well, what's 10 divided by 4? How many 4s go into 10? 4, 8, 12. We can get 2 4s in 10. That takes us to 8, which means there's 2 out of 4 left over. Let's do one more. Let's do 17 over 5. So what's 17 divided by 5? Well, 5, 10, 15, 20, no, so 15. We can get 3 5s in 17. 2 of the 17 is left over, and I just carry the same denominator as I had before. It's 3 2/5. So that's going one way. How do we go the other way? How do I take a mixed number like these ones here and turn them into top-heavy fractions? Let's start with, well, let's take our 3.5 from earlier. 3.5, again, I'll draw a picture. 3.5 looks like this. So I've got 3 wholes and then 1 half. And if I actually draw the halves in here, we could just count them. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 halves. We've got 7 halves. So again, that's a nice picture that explains how they're the same thing, but that's not how I recommend working it out if you have to. What I would do is with your 3 and 1 half, if you multiply these two numbers together, the 3 times the half, that works out for you how many halves are in the 3. So how many halves are in 3? 3 times 2, that's 6. And we then plus on this extra half that we've got up top here. That is how many halves you've got. There are 7 halves. So again, that's the kind of theory. Let's see how it looks on a question. Let's do 5 2/3, and I want to convert that. So what I'm saying we do is multiply these two numbers together. 5 times 3 is 15, and then add on the 2, which is at the top there. 15 plus 2, that's 17 over 3. The 3, just like last time, stays the same. Let's do another one. Let's do 7.5. Well, we times these together. 7 times 2 is 14, plus the 1 is 15, so it's 15 over 2. Okay, one more. 8 and 1/4. 8 times 4 times those together is 32, plus the extra 1 on top, that makes 33, so it's 33/4. The denominator stays the same. So I'm just going to put up some questions for you there. There are 4 questions to have a go at, 2 going from a mixed number to an improper fraction, and 2 going from a mixed number to an improper fraction. You can pause here if you want to have a go, or you can just carry on watching when I talk through. So pause here if you want to have a try at them, because I'm going to talk them through. So 3 2/5 into an improper fraction. Well, that's the ones that we just did over here on the right-hand side. So we're going to take 3 times 5, which is 15. That's how many fifths we have in this whole 3. But we don't just have those fifths, we've also got the 2 fifths at the end. So we add those extra 2 fifths on, so we have 17 fifths altogether. Same for 6 1/3. We're going to do 6 times 3 to work out how many thirds are in the 6 wholes that we have, and the answer is 18. But we also have an extra third that's stuck on the end here. So altogether, we have 19 thirds. Now going the other way, turning them into a mixed number, this is what we did on the left-hand side, where we do 19 divided by 3. So 19 divided by 3 is 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21. I can only get 6 in there. That took me to 18, so the remainder is 1. And that means that this, as a mixed number, is 6 1/3. And finally, 31 over 4 into a mixed number. We start with 31 divided by 4, which is 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32. I can get 7 in there. That took me to 28. And if that took me to 28, then there are 3 remainder. And if the answer is 7 remainder 3, then that means the answer is 7 3/4. So that's turning improper fractions to mixed numbers and mixed numbers to improper fractions. Hope that helped.